G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to Star Citizen with Mags. And so we are continuing on from our Grim Hex video, where I showed you the slowest and least optimal way of getting to Grim Hex, but the one that the majority of players are probably going to try first. I will show you faster ways later on. Anyways, this is the inside entranceway from the main pad of Grim Hex. Now, Grim Hex was originally a mining facility that mined the Yala asteroid belt. After it was abandoned, it was taken over by pirates, and it has been converted into a pirate base. And it looks like we have somebody coming in from behind. That's alright. We are in an armistice zone while inside of the station, so we can't be shot. And obviously somebody's trying to shoot. Anyways, first thing to remember, we have these little cases to the left and right, or these cupboards to the left and right of the airlock. If you run up to the airlock and you haven't got a spacesuit on, make sure you click on these and get your spacesuit on, otherwise you will die in vacuum. Now, this would have been the main entrance area to, or the greeting area for the mining facility. It's now just, well, an unused area. So nothing too impressive to show there. You will find that the frame rates inside of Grim Hex, as I'm walking around, are a little to the lower side. It's a little laggy here. Interestingly, most of the problem isn't actually in the optimization of Star Citizen's alpha. It's actually optimized pretty well. The problem is in the netcode. There's actually a hack you can do, which I was hoping to find out exactly how to pull it off for this video, where you can set the Star Citizen client to not log in and play in a single player mode, and then you can do a map swap that will replace one of the Vendel Swarm maps with the Persistent Universe map. I've seen videos of people that have done this, and they're getting frame rates in excess of 100 frames per second once the netcode is taken out of the equation, because obviously you're playing completely offline at that point. So, we have the airlock out here. Somebody's grabbed my Drake Cutlass, that's okay. This is the second airlock that leads to the upper pads. Again, we've got the cupboard for the spacesuit on the side. These are the elevators that lead into the core of Grim Hex. We will go down them in a second. Now, these computers back here are the same as the computers in Port Olisar for spawning in the ships. However, keep in mind that unlike Port Olisar, there is only a limited number of pads here. I believe there's only one Class 4 pad. I'm not exactly sure on the numbers, but there is a very small number of ships that you can actually spawn in, and if somebody happens to be parked on one of those, you can't spawn on them. Now, there is another airlock around here to the side. There's a lot of something going on outside. Now, we will use this one for a second. Let's quickly cycle it through. I do love this effect. The airlocks are really well done. Now, we're already indeed floating around in the suit now. This is the depressurized part of the station. You can see it's fairly blown to crap. This is the sneaky way of getting into Grim Hex. If you don't want to pull up at the main pads, which are very, very, very noticeable, people will spot you coming in on those. You can come in the side around here, and if we just get outside a little and look up, we can see it's an outcropping sticking away from the station, and because it sticks out, you can actually park a ship underneath here in the shadows, and for the most part, it won't get detected once you're out of it. Not always true, of course, but sometimes. There's a public enemy over there at the moment, so we probably don't want to get noticed here because we will get shot. Stay inside here. It should give us cover so we can get back to the airlock. Once you're outside of the airlocks at Grim Hex, you're outside of the armistice zone, so you can have a firefight right here. No problems at all. Oh, going a little too fast there. Please cycle the airlock. Thank you very much. And how about we close this one, and gravity should resume. And here we go, drop back to the ground. Beautiful. So anyway, that's one of the sneaky side entrances. There is actually a couple hidden around Grim Hex, but that's the first one. It's the simplest one. It is the one that you are most likely to get detected using, but it is a hell of a lot less noticeable than landing your pad, or landing your ship on the pads outside. Now, when I was dicking around outside last time, you would have seen the big glass windows. That's them there. Not really in a good position for you to see what's going on outside, which is a bit unfortunate. I would have liked there to be a balcony of some sort right up against the window and have these as ceiling to floor windows so you can see the pads outside and see if anybody's camping the ships. But they're not. I think these are actually very heavily inspired by the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Total Recall. They look a lot like the glass windows out of the Mars base. Somebody's having good fun in my Drake. There we go. Incidentally, if you steal a ship and wonder... Oh, he's come all the way back here. If you steal a ship and wonder how somebody's actually managed to find you after you've stolen it, that's how. If they've been inside the ship, you get a beacon for wherever your ship is. If somebody takes your ship, you can see wherever it goes in the persistent universe and track it. Alright, so we'll take the elevator down. Now, if you want to improve your frame rates, one thing you can do that will help a little bit, as much as it's not so much for the netcode is really the holding factor, but it is worth searching up how to turn off motion blur. It makes everything look a lot crisper. I hate motion blur, and it will give you a few extra frames, or at least as many as you can get outside of the limitations of the netcode. So this is the main, I suppose this would be the shopping area or living area for Grim Hex. Now, we've got a couple of little areas to look at here. Actually, we'll go upstairs first. Now, if we take the stairs up, we got a bunch of panels showing whatever they're showing, various ads. A lot of them are glitchy, they're damaged or broken, they're showing, you know, corrupted data. These are, if you're a criminal, the areas that you will spawn in at. These are the spawning rooms, just like the ones in Port Olisar. There's a couple of areas for them, so this place is built to support a lot of pirates, far more than the server can actually hold at the moment. And the little details they've got, you know, the tables, the mess, it looks like a lived-in environment. This is the kind of stations that I really like. I'd be interested in seeing what this looks like as a mining station before it's given up. Just like to be blunt, a bit of a dirty shithole. I kind of like that. You know, perfect Apple Store space stations they're not so appealing to me. And there are some other nice little details. You've got one here that's open. We'll turn on the light so we can have a look around, so you can see somebody's got their luggage in here. It looks like whoever was here had to abandon in a real hurry. We go upstairs. There is one particular room that I found was very clever, and I don't think it's... We've got beds out in the hall, so obviously there's not enough room in all of the rooms on the side. And there was one particular living space that I'm actually looking for that I thought was really clever. It makes me wonder exactly what happened. You know, water on the floor, so the place is obviously leaking. The environmental controls aren't working perfectly because the place is under-maintained, or not maintained at all. Ah, here it is. What the hell happened here? We've got massive burn marks and holes in the door. What looks like an explosion that's happened outside. Try and get past a little bit. Get a little bit of glare off the torch here, so actually we'll turn the torch back off. An open box of noodles, which seems largely intact, and a toilet roll. Was there some kind of gunfight in here, or did somebody's colon just get a serious hammering? Anyways, the rest of the place is, that door's taped up so you can't go in there, and yeah, the rest of it's pretty much the same. This area here you can't progress past because there's obviously wreckage and debris on the stairs, so it limits your usage and how far you can get up. Yes, that is the living quarters. This is the area that you will be spawning in on Grim Hex, and the appearance of the place is great. Now this upper level, it looks like there is supposed to be something up there, but at the moment it's inaccessible. I found no way to actually get up to that section of the station. And yeah, as we said before, we got the big screen. There is graffiti. You'll find graffiti and tags and marks all over the place. So yes, even to 900 years into the future, people are still whipping out the spray cans. Now, this path, we'll go and look at the shop's last, but this path here, if we follow it down and around, leads deep into the bowels of Grim Hex. Large empty areas with lots of piping, but we have an airlock. So we cycle this airlock here. Hopefully the public enemy isn't outside and going to shoot me in the goddamn head for showing this off, because this is the kind of place he would use too. So we cycle the airlock through. Once again, we go through the really cool airlock animation. And once again, we are now free floating. This area here is an entire depressurized section of the Grim Hex facility. So we can float through the station. Now, I haven't explored all this yet, and I'm not going to in this video. I'm going to leave some of this for you guys to find your way around. This is just to give you a brief look at what Grim Hex is inside. But as you can see, it's just the station as you've seen for the rest of it, depressurized. Now, I'm not entirely sure what interesting tidbits you'll find in here, but it's going to be worth looking around. Actually, it looks like this section of the ship has been blown open. Through here. No, I can't. Damn it, I was thinking I might have just found another entrance into Grim Hex. Oh, we got a little bit of a animation glitch out there. So obviously that's straight outside. This is obviously where the depressurization has occurred, but it doesn't look like it's going to actually let me go through, which is unfortunate. We have the forklift. I assume we'll be using these forklifts to actually load cargo in and out of our ships. If you haven't seen it yet, have a look at the latest around the verse. They did a demonstration on how the cargo is going to work in a number of ships, and it is going to be a lot more fun than in other space trading style games. Cargo just doesn't sit as a number inside of a menu that you can move around. You'll actually be loading it in and out of your ships, and depending on where you're going and how much cargo you're looking to move, you're going to have to keep that in mind when you're actually stacking cargo into your ships for accessibility. I think that's the airlock. That's not the airlock. It's the airlock up here. No, not up here either. Okay, this is... this is looking promising. Yes, that's what we're after. We're after the pad. Alright. Oh, stop, stop, stop. Interestingly, in the depressurized zone, I just noticed then the armistice is gone. So if there is a way through that to the outside, there's a potential zero-G combat zone in there. Yeah, so we'll head back up around now. So that's that section of the space station. And we'll go around to actually have a look at the shops. Now, there are two shops in Grim Hex, exactly the same as the two shops that are in Port Olisar. There's a weapons store and a clothing store. The difference is, since Grim Hex has come into play, the weapons and armaments and clothing options have been split between the two. Your pirate faction clothing is available here, and this is the first part here. This is the clothing store area. So you can see we've got a selection of caps, various things. This is where you'll find your shirts with your skulls on them, you know, I don't give a shit t-shirts. We'll turn that off a bit. Gutter Wash, which is, as far as I can tell, the Star Citizen Universe's version of Jack Daniels. So all your sort of just your dirty street smart style clothing is in here. Actually some really cool looking stuff. Right, Daredevil. We'll try that on. I haven't got the money to buy it at the moment. We'll try it on. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'm not going on the yellow cap, my guy. Why is my guy wearing a yellow cap? Why doesn't my guy have an eye patch? Fix that. Anyway, so here's your clothing. And this is so you can play dress up and get your ship, get your guy looking the way you want to look. Not really important in the game now, a nice option to have, but it is something that they needed to work on anyway, because clothing is actually going to play a part in Star Citizen. For example, there are certain areas in, well, the way it's been described, that there are certain spaceports that might have a high-class area, and you'll be expected to be wearing the appropriate sort of attire to walk into this sort of an area. You wouldn't walk into a building on, say, I don't know, in a main business district, really high-class area, with a crappy pair of torn jeans and a dirty t-shirt. They wouldn't let you in the building. Security would stop you. So you'll have to find a suit. You'll look out of place, and NPCs will respond to you differently if you're wearing a suit and come into a place like this. People will generally not like you for it. So you've sort of got to use the clothing options to blend into your environment to get the best responses out of the NPCs. Or at least that's what they're working on. The exact details of how it's going to work haven't been covered yet, but that is a thing, and that's why that is under development. So we go upstairs and go through this airlock, and again, we've got another open area of the station. And again, I'm hearing shots being fired. There's obviously a firefight happening somewhere at the moment around the station, and I can't hear it. Anyways, this is our weapons store and our armor store. Now, what's actually happened is all this used to be available in Port Olisar, but they've split the weapons and the armors. So the pirate faction armors, as you can see, light, medium, and heavy armor, are all now at Grimhex. They are no longer available at Port Olisar. Only the UEE armors are available there, along with the multicolored spacesuits. They've also split the weapons. The pirate faction has access to the energy-based weapons, such as the energy shotgun, the laser assault rifle, which is my most common weapon, the laser sniper rifles, laser pistols, so on and so forth. The UEE are using the projectile weapons, so they get the machine guns, the projectile pistols, rail snipers, stuff along those lines. Again, it is a dirty, messy looking place with shell casings all over the floor. It looks great. I love this. You can pick up your medipens here, anything you particularly need. Once again, the shooting range is not available to use, but this is where you go to find all your guns. So if you're jumping into the game and wondering where are all the laser weapons, they're here at Grimhex. Incidentally, I'm going to do a video on projectile weapons and why they are not silly in Star Citizen very soon, because they actually make a lot of sense. And that airlock takes us back out to the other side of the screen, and we are back on the deck. And that is pretty much the core of Grimhex. And there's a lot more here, and as you can see, just looking at the place and how it's detailed, the posters on the walls. I've already found a number of Easter eggs. When you go up and actually read some of the posters, there's little bits of writing scrawled on some of them, and there's a lot of clever stuff hidden around inside of this. A giant nest of Easter eggs that's worth looking around at. And I'm not going to spoil all that for you here. I'm going to let you guys come here and find it out yourself. But this is the basic layout for Grimhex and everything that's here. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go and get myself another ship and find out why the hell my Cutlass is parked 400 kilometers away and have a word with the person who took it. Until next time, click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section if there was anything in this video that you spotted while I was walking around. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the verse.